Later in the show, we're going to play a game about the city of Vancouver. And as always, we're going to talk about all the storylines for the match and make some bets. But first, hello and welcome to Happy Foot, Sad Foot, your LAFC gateway drug and the only LAFC podcast that will completely miss Decision Day. I'm Travis Helwig.
And I'm Darren Miller. Welcome to our preview of LAFC's final MLS match of the regular season versus Vancouver Whitecaps FC on Saturday, October 21st at 6 p.m. at BC Place in Vancouver. You can watch it on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV+, and of course, we'll be live streaming our post-game call-in show 10 minutes after the final whistle at youtube.com/@HappyFootSadFoot. Travis and I will unfortunately be at a wedding that night, so we won't be doing the live stream, but Vince and a special guest will be doing the live stream, and you're not going to want to miss out.
Mom and Dad will be away. You guys get to go nuts.
Yes, you're not going to want to miss that, but again, we're going to miss it.
Later in the show, we're going to play a game about the city of Vancouver, and as always, we're going to talk about all the storylines for the match and make some bets. But first, we're going to completely waste your time for about 3 to 5 minutes because you forced us to do it after our first episode, and we've just sort of gone with it, even though we hate every minute of it. It's time for listener-mandated banter. Darren, how you doing?
Well, what a question. Can you believe I have to answer this? I don't know. This was a fun week. It was my wife's birthday and also our anniversary.
Oh, nice.
But we have 3 kids, so we weren't able to do much for either, really.
Whenever people have kids, they really do a good job of selling it to me.
Yeah.
We had 2 things to have fun with, but we couldn't do it because of our children.
No fun. Fun's not allowed. Yeah. We outlawed it for ourselves on purpose. Yeah. I don't know where am I supposed to fall on that spectrum?
Which spectrum?
The spectrum of like, I always feel like the more honest I am, the more I sound like, oh, you don't love your children.
Everybody gets it. Everybody gets it. It's like anyone who's like, it's a gift and every day is a joy. Like those people, everyone's like, fuck you. You clearly have 2 nannies. Like,
I think the reason, I think I'm really just kind of honest enough just to be like, just so you know, it's not that. Like that's not, I don't feel that way.
I don't think anyone would look at you and think of you as a neglectful parent. I think someone would look at you and maybe be like, that guy's got to be a way too active parent. I feel like that's the vibe you give off.
Yeah. Well, I overdo it in every way. But there is a lot of like, I mean, I think a reasonable thing is like that guy's podcasting a lot for a guy with 3 kids.
I guess so. I'll say this. There's a lot of people who podcast a lot more with a lot more kids than you. Or maybe not more kids, but they podcast way more than we do.
Dude, I always wonder
30 minutes once a week.
Yeah, I was the people who have like family Instagram and YouTube accounts and like do a lot of like influencers with their kids. Now that I have kids, it's insane to me that they're able to do that logistically. Like it seems crazy that there are people wild. Like and their kids doing content. Like that's crazy.
Whenever they're like, when like a family, there's just something about it. And if you're listening and you do that, I'm not talking about
just
you.
Explain
it
to us, I guess.
There's just something like I go both ways because I'm also like, you know how people put the emojis over the baby's face? Like sometimes I'm like, that's stupid. But at the other side of it, I'm like, but also making your baby do a video on YouTube with you so that you can monetize it and make money is equally gross. You know, like they're both, I mean, not equally. That's more gross than putting an emoji over your baby's face. But you know what I mean? It's like, my friend Paul did a really funny thing recently where he had a photo with his newborn, who I think is 9 months old now, and he put an emoji over his own face and put the baby.
That's great. I love that.
I'm not judging anyone. Everyone do whatever you want to do. We're all just trying our best.
Same.
I think you're a great father, Darren. And
thank you. I think everyone's
your wife.
Thank you. Yeah, everyone is not doing well in terms of like. Well, everyone's not doing well, but also everyone's bad at whatever they're trying to do. Let's not kid ourselves. No one's great.
In the world? Yeah. I would say there's very few people in the world who are good at what they do exclusively. And I'm like trying to think, but it's like LeBron James has lost a lot of games in the finals. You know, like he's lost more than he's won.
He's not that good. It's funny to think about like everyone Everyone actually is like
Remember,
not
this
that
is an
good.
LA sports podcast. You can't talk
He's fine.
bad about the Los
I
Angeles
mean, he's better than
Lakers.
everyone else. He's sure compared to all the other players in that sport. He's good.
I would say we are the Dennis Schroeder of podcasting. You know, like there's some
Yeah.
LeBron James out there, but we're like we're enough to play, but we shouldn't be
Yeah.
starting.
You were
You
like,
know?
oh, that guy's there. Okay, cool. Got like a weird.
All
He's
right.
got one of those characters under one of the names in his last name. That's interesting.
The umlaut.
Yeah.
I should have an umlaut. I don't want to be any more German. I don't need to associate with being German anymore. And then I already
Anymore.
do. Yeah,
Okay.
anymore. Anymore.
Not since World War II, and it was cool.
All right,
All
start
right.
the show before we walk down some slippery slopes
Oh
together.
yeah. All right. All right. Well, it is the last regular season match for LAFC, and as a casual fan, I of course want them to end the season strong. But I also know there has to be more to this match than just let's play one more before the playoffs start. There's probably a lot to consider between who to start and sit with the playoffs coming up, who's healthy, what to expect from the Whitecaps, and a whole bunch of other stuff. But I can't keep up with all that. I'm busy keeping up with a job in an industry of pure chaos, a house full of kids causing pure chaos, and a world full of horrific wars that make me look like a complete idiot for calling my ridiculously privileged life chaotic. What am I going to dig into the nuances of a soccer game? Yes. It's the only thing that keeps me sane, and luckily my friend Travis, the human LAFC crazy wall, is here each week to use his insanity to prevent mine by explaining what's really going on beneath the surface of each week's matchup so we can all enjoy it so much more in a segment we call Storylines.
Gotta say, I am surprised you were the one to bring up the wars.
Yeah,
Moving
knew?
on. Why won't Happy Foot's Headfoot make a statement? Darren,
Everyone's
we've made
waiting
it.
to find out what we think about current events and
Does Happy
global
Foot
politics.
Sadfoot support Hamas? If they don't say anything, they must support Hamas. Darren, we've made it. It's the last game of the regular season. We started a podcast way back in February, and besides a few exceptions, we did a preview episode and a post-game episode for almost all 33 regular season LAFC games. And I just want to start by saying it's been incredibly fun to do this with you. And I am so grateful that we started doing it. And I'm so thankful that you're my friend.
I feel the same way. Thank you so much for saying that.
And even more importantly, I am so grateful that we've been embraced by such a vibrant community of incredibly hot and horny LAFC fans who have made us feel so welcome in this club. And genuinely, thank you everyone for listening and subscribing and telling your friends. And thank you to the other LAFC podcasts for being so kind and helpful. The writer's strike flew by for me because I got to hang out with all of you this year. And it's our last game of the regular season. Things are about to get crazy. And I just wanted to say thank you right now. All that sappy bullshit out of the way. It's our last game of the regular season, which means, Darren, it's decision day. And that brings us to the first and most important storyline of the week, right up top, which is this. Just how much home field advantage are we going to get in the playoffs, baby? So if you've been paying attention, Darren, and I know you have, you'll know that we play well at home. And when we're away, we play whatever the opposite of good is. And I don't want to say the word, but it's the opposite of good.
It's not good.
No, it's not good. And because of that, seeding in the playoffs is incredibly important. The higher the seed, the more home games we will get during the playoffs. Last year, during our MLS Cup run, we got to play every single game of the playoffs, including the finals at home. That went a long way to helping us win, and that will not be the case this year. Where do we stand this time around? Well, Darren, I regret to inform you, is a tight table.
It's a tight table.
It's a tight table. It is a very tight table. And where exactly is our place in that tight table? Well, we are currently second in the West with no chance of catching first place. Second is the best we can do. And because of some lucky results this weekend, there is officially now no chance of us dropping below fourth place. That means for at least the first round of the playoffs, we will have home field advantage, which is huge. I'm very thankful. And a brief reminder about that first round. This year, it's a best of 3, which means we'll play at home the first game. And if a third game is required, we'll play at home for that third game as well. After that, in the playoffs, we go to single game playoffs, or as I like to call them, best of 1 series. Following so far, how's your brain doing?
That format is completely unhinged, and I don't feel like an idiot about saying it. I feel like I know enough to be confident in saying, what the fuck?
It's a cash grab. They wanted everyone to have some home games so they could sell tickets, and they wanted more messy games.
It's a very funny, like, it's funny when something like this comes up and you can picture the boardroom thing where they're just like, I've got an idea. What if we did more games? What if the thing that makes us money we did more of? And everyone was like, whoa.
Initially, the big thing they were going to do is they were going to do group stages like the World Cup. And everyone was like, that's insane. Why would that's so much travel? Yeah, it's crazy. So what does all that mean for this week? Well, Darren, because we are in sole possession of second place, it means we control our destiny. If we win against Vancouver on Saturday, we stay in second place. It's that clean. It's that simple. Sounds good, right?
Yeah.
Well, that brings us to our second storyline of the match, Darren, which is this. What happens if we lose? Darren, what do you know about Decision Day?
Okay, I'll tell you what I know about Decision Day. I know that all the games happen at the same time, so no one can, there's no funny business. No one can like throw a game or stop trying. That's pretty much all I know.
Darren, that's exactly right. So basically, I'm going to still read what I got, but you kind of said it simpler than I'm about to say it. Basically, every single team in the league plays it the same day. The Eastern Conference plays at one time. The Western Conference plays at another time.
Oh,
why?
I didn't know that.
Because
I thought it was
they
everyone
don't
all
want,
at once.
Yeah, it's just because the playoffs are separated by the conferences, so they have the 2 different times. Yeah. Why do they do this? They don't want teams to game who they get to play against in the playoffs. If teams played at different times, inevitably some would be in a better position to figure out who they were going to play against. They would try to lose, or if 2 teams benefited from a tie, they would just pass the ball back and forth until the game was over. They do the same thing on the last game of the group stage at the World Cup as well. It's just to make sure that everyone's on an equal playing field and the games at the end of the season are all hard fought. No one is just laying down and letting a win happen. Everyone's playing to win. If we lose on Decision Day to Vancouver, Darren, things get complicated. Here's where it gets wonky. I apologize for all the numbers and bullshit I'm about to get into, but this is what the storylines are coming into this match.
Okay.
It's possible I got some of this wrong too, but I double checked it and I'm pretty sure that this is right. So I'm doing my best, everyone. You all know this isn't my job. Just saying that. Okay. As I said, yeah, fuck. Okay. As
don't worry. We'll just say that we'll just blame it on Vince. That always works.
Vince gave me bad info. As I said, we can't drop below second, right? But there are 2 teams that could move ahead of us and force us to third or fourth. The Seattle Sounders are in third place, just a single point behind us, and the Houston Dynamo are in fourth place, 3 points behind us. So let's game this out. Let's say we tie. A tie, Darren, as far as you know, is worth how many points?
1 point.
Good boy. 1 point added to our current 51 points means that we end the season with
52 points. Sorry, I just wasn't listening.
That's a good boy. In that situation, with 52 points, Houston cannot jump ahead of us. We end no matter what in third place with a tie. With a tie, we can end in second or third, but third's the lowest if we get a tie. Seattle, however, can jump ahead of us with a win because they have 50 points. 50 plus 3 is?
That's 53, my friend.
Correct. And that's more than what we would have. And you said how much we would have was 51 plus 1, which is what?
Still 52, I believe.
52. So 53, Seattle, 52, LAFC. But it might be difficult for them to get a win because they are playing the best team in the West, St. Louis City. In St. Louis. St. Louis is very good at home.
Louis. Sorry.
They capitalize different words in their name each time. They're very good at home. But St. Louis, like I said, can't get knocked out of first. So there's a world in which they do rest players. Seattle has much more to play for than St. Louis in this game. So it's a tough situation for Seattle, but there is a world in which St. Louis decides to give some minutes off to some people who need it. If we tie
Okay.
and Seattle beats St. Louis, Seattle ends up in second, we end up in third. If we tie and Seattle ties or loses to St. Louis, we remain in second place. Got it?
Yes.
That's everything that could happen with a tie. If we tie, we're either second
Okay.
or third. Now, what happens if we lose? A loss, as far as you know, Darren, is worth how many points?
0 points.
That's a very good boy. And so that means if we have 51 points right now and we earn
Yeah.
0 points, how many points will we have at the end of the season?
51.
That's correct. If we end the season with 51 points, this is when we have to factor in both Seattle and Houston. It's going to get more complicated, baby. Houston is playing Portland. A win for Houston against Portland puts Houston at 51 points. They're currently at 48 plus 3. That's 51. 51 is what we currently have. So the
I
best Houston
recognized
can
that. I
do
remembered it. Yep.
is get the same as what we have. So if we lose and Houston beats Portland, they are tied with us in points. This game for Houston and Portland is kind of a must-win for both teams. Portland, it's a must-win if they want to make sure they stay in the playoffs. There's scenarios where they lose and stay in the playoffs, but they're not going to risk it. They're going to play to win. They have to. The game is also in Portland where they play well. Houston wants a win because with a loss, they could drop as low as 6th in the seeding. But who cares? How does that game affect us? Well, if we lose and end with 51 points and Seattle ties to St. Louis, that means they also could end the season with 51 points. A Houston win would give them 51 points. A Seattle tie would give them 51 points. A LAFC loss would give us 51 points. A 3-way tie for second place. Are you following?
Yeah. Yeah. By less than
So,
before, though.
okay. All you need to know is if we lose, there's a world in which we could end up in 4th place. And here's
Yes.
how it happens. We go to tiebreakers.
Yes.
And also Seattle could win and we would be in 3rd and then we'd be tied for 3rd. This still all applies. We go to tiebreakers. First tiebreaker is total number of wins. Currently on the season, we have 14 wins. Seattle and Houston both have 13. So in the situation I'm gaming out, where Houston wins and we lose, we are then tied after the first tiebreaker with Houston for either 3rd or 4th place. The next tiebreaker, Darren, any guesses what's after total number of wins?
Goal differential.
You got it. Goal differential. That's how many goals we score over the course of the season, subtracted by the number of goals that we let in. Our goal differential currently is 15. Seattle's is 7. So if we're tied with Seattle at any point on decision day, it would be hard for them to catch us in goal differential. Okay. So I feel pretty good about us in that situation. Great. But against Houston, it gets a little messier. Houston's current goal differential is 11 and ours is 15. So if goal differential stays the same, we would beat them on that tiebreaker. However, any situation in which they tie us, goal differential will not be the same because that means they have won and we have lost, which means we will drop in goal differential and they will rise in goal differential. So let's just say for fun, Darren, we lose 3-0 and Houston wins 2-0. Our goal differential then becomes 12 and their goal differential becomes 13. Boom, they jump ahead of us.
Okay. Wow.
There's a bunch of other goal combinations that allows for that too, but basically they have to make up 4 goals on us by either us letting those in or them making a bunch of goals. But the worst case scenario is we lose by 3, Houston wins by 2, Seattle wins their game. That puts Seattle at 2nd, Houston at 3rd, and us all the way down at 4th. Does that make sense? That's the absolute worst case scenario. I know that was a lot. We're following?
Oof. Yes, I'm following. Yes. That was.
And just because I know that there's some fucking sickos out there that are wondering, what if we in Houston are tied on goal differential? Here's the list of tiebreakers after that. Just to say it, I'm not going to game it out. Okay. It goes most wins, goal differential, then goals for. We have 53, Houston has 48, Seattle only has 39, not to be worried about. After that, it's fewest disciplinary points, a stat I refuse to look up, and that's where we're ending it. I'm not going to know what that means. Someone's just going to tell me whether or not we're better than them.
I doubt it.
Yeah, it's
We
Palacios single-handedly will put us in fourth. Yeah. All that is to say, we get to ignore all that fucking bullshit, Darren, if we just get a win against Vancouver. If we tie or lose in Vancouver, then we got to deal with that math shit. But if we go to Vancouver and get a fucking win, we don't have to think about anything else. We end second in the West. Darren, I sent a ton of info at you. How are you feeling?
I'm good. I'm a very visual learner, so that was tough for me. You're usually the crazy wall. I do well with crazy walls. This time it was the like math going toward the camera meme. I'm less good at that one.
Yes. Well, look, Darren, this still brings us to our final storyline of the match, which is this. Vancouver really wants to win this game. Vancouver have had a great stretch at the end of the year, and they want to finish out strong. They currently have 47 points, tied for fifth in the West, just 1 point behind Houston at 48. They're good. A Vancouver win makes home field advantage a possibility for them, but maybe luckily for us, a Vancouver loss can only have them go as low as 6. So the game isn't as important, but they do have the possibility of moving into the top 4 and getting home field advantage. And for a team in Canada that has to travel a lot, that home field could mean a lot. Vancouver's been led this season by Brian White, a man who I know we've spoken about on the show before because I went on a long tangent about Ryan White, the author of whose book about AIDS I had to read when I was in middle school in 1998. Brian White has 15 goals and 5 assists on the season. He was in the running for Golden Boot before Denny went ham. They also have a really strong player in Ryan Gauld, who has 11 goals and 15 assists on the season, which, dare I say, is Diego Rossi-esque. Vancouver is also home to our old pal Tristan Blackman, who I could say for certain would kick my ass in a fight if he ever wanted to fight me. Darren, what's your opinion of Tristan Blackman?
Seems kind of like the guy who might be down to do that.
Yeah. He seems like someone you don't want to fuck with. I'm scared. Like, I would scared to be around him when he's drunk, you know?
Yeah.
He's going to punch some drywall. Those are the storylines.
That's come up a handful of times on this show, and every time it's right. That is a category of soccer player.
Yeah. Those are the storylines for this week's match. Decision Day is always crazy because it's filled with my 2 favorite things: insane storylines and a table so tight a French high wire act could walk between the Twin Towers on it.
Woo!
When we come back, we're going to play a game about Vancouver.
And we're back. Well, Travis, this is the portion of the show where we generally go a little deeper into the team that we're playing in this next match. Maybe we have a guest interview with an expert. Maybe we get into the tactics more. We bring Vince in. We've faced Vancouver twice already this year. Well, 3 times if you're counting both legs of the CCL. I don't care. I don't know if you care. Every time we've recorded, we've avoided talking about them. I think we had interviews about different subjects both times. Seems like every time it comes to them on the table, we're like, I don't feel like talking about them. Let's do something else. So we're going to maybe we split the difference this time, and we can talk about Vancouver, but instead of talking about the team, we can just do a fun random trivia game about Vancouver.
I like that idea because I don't want to think about Vancouver. I don't want to know anything about Vancouver. Well, I guess I'm about to learn about Vancouver.
You're about to learn
quiz me.
Very surface level things that you will not care to retain and will not be helpful to know about Vancouver.
I'm excited. I've never been to Vancouver, so this is good for me, actually.
Me neither.
I was supposed to go to Vancouver for a show I was writing on that got shut down. Like it was the first show that David Zaslav shut down for Warner Brothers. And we didn't realize yet that he was just shutting down every show. But we were just like, I guess David Zaslav hates the show we wrote. I'm not going to Vancouver anymore.
That's crazy. So for a bit, you were like, oh, he just singled us out.
Yeah, exactly. Turns out he just was shutting down TBS entirely.
That's fun.
Yeah. All right, let's do it. I'm ready.
Yeah, okay. So this is, what should we call this?
Vancouver, I hardly knew her.
In my head, I was like, what can I title this that isn't Vancouver? I hardly knew her.
It's that now. It's hard.
but I think it has to be. Okay.
Vancouver? I hardly knew her.
Oh boy. Okay, Travis, let's see how well you know Vancouver and how lazy I was at putting together these questions. Are you ready?
I can't wait to find
Oh,
out what the
you.
Wikipedia page about Vancouver says.
Luckily, you won't have to. Hey, and if you're listening or watching at home, don't cheat and go to the Wikipedia page. Okay, question number 1, Travis. Vancouver is often regarded as one of the most beautiful cities to live in not just Canada, but the entire world. This is due
Wow.
to A, a nice urban skyline, B, beautiful mountains, C, proximity to the Pacific Ocean, lakes, etc., D, gardens, art, museums, that sort of shit, or E, who gives a shit? LA has all this stuff and it's 15 degrees hotter. Also, the soccer team is good.
E. It's obviously E.
That's exactly right. Which of the following is not a nickname used to describe Vancouver? A, Rain City or Raincouver. B, Terminal City. C, No Fun City or No Funcouver. D, Blandcouver. Or E, none of the above. This shit is bleak.
Terminal City? That one makes so little sense. It has to be real. Like Terminal City. I guess it could be the city where the movie The Terminal takes place, which honestly cool. I like that movie. Which one is not real? I'm gonna say No Funcouver because that's not a good nickname.
The answer was E, none of the above. This shit is bleak. No Funcouver is actually probably the most popular nickname of all of those.
Terminal
Referring
City?
to yeah, I actually successfully tricked you on that because all the other ones are so bleak. But Terminal City is just referring to like train terminals or some shit.
Every city has got a train terminal.
Yeah, I don't know, some stupid. The No Vancouver thing is like I think they mostly fixed this recently, but not entirely. But they had very like archaic liquor laws.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
There's
the
one, I
population
do know one
was
thing about Vancouver, which is that when all the film sets go to Vancouver to shoot, they all stay at the same hotel, and it's basically like known as a Hollywood fuck hotel, where like all of the crews of different shows meet in the bar after long days of work and just fuck each other. It's like so many marriages have ended in the Vancouver fuck hotel.
Oh my god, that's so funny. How has there not been a show or a movie about that?
That's a great idea, Darren. If anyone's listening, that's ours. That's
It's ours.
ours.
We got it. Sorry. Happy career, sad career. Okay. We almost missed the riveting question about the population.
Oh, I can't wait.
The population of Vancouver, the city, not the metro area, is A, 660,000, B, 1 million, C, 436,000, or D, 1.8 million. This is just a question about the population.
I love that it's like,
There's no
how do I
joke.
make a funny number? What's a funny number to put? Okay. So the population of New York City is like 8 point something million. And that's the
Okay.
biggest city in America. Vancouver looks like New York, and that's why they shoot there. But it's not, or no, they shoot Toronto for New York. I guess they shoot Vancouver for a lot of stuff. I
We'll get
think
to
it's
that.
got to be over 1 million because it's a pretty big, it is a big city for Canada. I think it's the second biggest city in Canada, or it's up there. I'm going to say the not 1.8, 1 million, whatever that one was.
The answer was A, 666,000.
That's so small.
Oh, sorry, 660,000. I, for some reason, defaulted to Satan.
Hail.
Yeah, it's small. Yep, and that's what we learned from that question.
Can you guys tell? This is like senioritis. We made it to the last episode and we're like, I don't know, just ask it. We'll do the population. Should we try?
But also, that's kind of the point about Vancouver. Like, I looked, because before we decided to do this, I looked into this and I looked into the team. I did the research to be like, what's interesting here? And the answer is nothing. It's genuinely nothing. I'm sorry.
I do.
And if
I
you
want to
lived
say
in Vancouver and you know that I'm wrong, that's fine. Inform me, please. I was not able to glean anything that actually interested me from the research that I did.
I have heard that it's beautiful, but yes, it does seem boring. A peek behind the curtain is Darren was like, should we try to get like a big guest? And I was like, nah, we'll figure it out. And then this is what we'll figure it out.
This is a we'll figure it out. This was the best idea of anything that we could come up with. And Travis texted me, "Hey, in the middle of a panic attack, but I just had an idea for what we could do for the segment."
I did
And I was like,
clarify that
"Yep, I like the
I'm
idea."
waiting for the medicine to kick in. I'm doing okay. But yes, I was in my bed having a panic attack, and I was like, well, I figured it out. Ask about the population.
And I genuinely was like, hope he's okay, but also that's a great idea.
No, you handled it well. I was like, I don't need anything. I'm good. Just letting you know. Bye. It was also me being like, I had to tell you that because I was like, I can't engage in a conversation about this.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, go for it.
I'm driving on steroids is what that one is. Okay. Vancouver is home to not only the Whitecaps, but also the Vancouver Canucks in the NHL. Between them, they have how many total championships all time? A, 3, all Canucks. B, 2, 1 Canucks Stanley Cup and 1 Whitecaps MLS Cup. C, 1. Or D, 0. The Canucks suck too.
I think it's 0. I think it's 0 total. Is that right?
That's correct. That's correct. Yes.
I follow hockey tangentially enough to know that they suck. Them and the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, and now we'll talk about the CFL. Just kidding. Okay. The Whitecaps mascot is A, Quachi, a Sasquatch from a local legend who lives in the forest. B, Spike, a belted kingfisher, a common bird in Vancouver. C, Miga, a mythical sea bear, part killer whale, part Kermode bear. Or D, Whitey the Whitecap, an upside-down snow-capped mountain with a white goatee and aviators.
Man, you did good with this one because all of them I was like, this is too stupid to be real. I feel like it's the Sasquatch.
No, you fell into my trap. That was a mascot from when Vancouver hosted the Olympics.
Right, yes. Which one is it? Is it the guy with the goatee and aviators?
No, I made that one up. The answer is B, Spike, a belted kingfisher, a common bird in Vancouver. Which is, of course,
cool. The most boring
one. Oh, you know what our mascot should be? The thing that makes this more lively and interesting and fun? A bird that's around.
They better do a fucking mountain with sunglasses on. That would rule.
Yeah, man. That was what I was like, what should it be? Okay. Turn the mountain upside down. And
Guy Fieri as a mountain. Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking. All right. According to comments in a
this better be the last question. This better be the last question.
Well, okay. Don't worry. There's fun stuff. It gets more fun. According to the comments.
There's a lot coming?
Oh, not a lot. No. I don't know. Whatever. I'll cut stuff.
Let's go.
According to comments in a random Reddit post I found, Vancouver is home to the first Canadian location for all the following popular U.S. chains, except A, McDonald's, B, Wendy's, C, IKEA, D, Zanku Chicken, or E, Krispy Kreme.
Fuck this question. Zanku Chicken. There's definitely not a Zanku Chicken in Vancouver.
There could be.
There's no Zanku Chicken in Vancouver.
You're right. It's Zanku Chicken. Crazy that all those other ones are there, though, right? Can you believe it? Vancouver is actually very LA. Which of the following LA things is not true? A, movies and TV shows are shot in Vancouver a lot. B, Botox was invented in Vancouver. C, Greenpeace was founded in Vancouver. D, the California roll was first created in Vancouver. Or E, the MLS team has anything interesting about it that's worth talking about even a little bit.
I know E's not true.
Well, there's your answer. Which of the following wasn't true?
Oh, then it's E. It's E.
All the others are true.
Greenpeace, they're like running around boats saving orcas. That's some fucking Canada shit.
Who knew that we shouldn't have saved the orcas at all? They're killing it out there. They're doing great.
Also,
they're destroying all the boats.
The Seattle Sounders Orca merch. I'm loving that Orca merch.
Yeah, that's awesome. The Canucks are their mascot is an orca, I believe. So
yeah, I like their branding.
Yeah. Okay. This is the grand finale. Are you ready for the biggest part of this ridiculously bland trivia game?
The COUV-SPLOSION. Are we ready for it? It's COUV-tober, baby.
It's COUV-tober. In addition to all the previously mentioned downer nicknames, Vancouver is also often called Hollywood North because so many films are shot there, and no one in Vancouver knows that North Hollywood exists and that I lived there for a while. I'm going to give you the top 20 U.S. grossing films with Vancouver marked as a filming location in IMDb. I'm going to ask you afterwards, How many have I actually seen, and what were they? Are you ready?
That's great. Okay. And what were they?
I like that you're letting everyone know which of these questions is actually like good enough to be in a real trivia game. This is the second.
And it's only works for me and you. No one else will
And
be able to answer the
I knew
question.
that. I knew these things.
It's the premise
Just
of
for
the
the
game.
record. Yeah.
Or have
Okay.
senioritis.
1. Titanic. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Deadpool. Thor, Love and Thunder. Deadpool 2. Twilight Saga, Eclipse. The Twilight Saga, New Moon. The Twilight Saga, Breaking Dawn, Part 2. Man of Steel, the Zack Snyder Superman movie. 10. The Twilight Saga, Breaking Dawn, Part 1. 11. X-Men The Last Stand. 12. X2. 13. Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. 14. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. 15. Godzilla. 16. Sonic the Hedgehog 2. 17. X-Men Origins Wolverine. That's right, another X-Men movie. 18. Night at the Museum, Battle of the Smithsonian. 19. Rise of the Planet of the Apes. And finally, number 20, Elf. So, Travis, first, how many of those do you think
Okay.
I've actually seen?
I'm gonna say the 3 that I think that you saw. So 3 is my
3?
answer.
Okay.
3. And it's
And can you name them?
Titanic, Night at the Museum, and Elf. Those are my 3 that you've seen.
Wow. Travis, if you can believe it, it's even more embarrassing than that. The answer is 2. You had Elf right, and the other one is Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I saw it
Oh!
last week with my son.
I was gonna guess Sonic the Hedgehog too. That's so funny. You haven't seen Titanic?
Nope. Never actually
You gotta
saw it.
see
Maybe
Titanic.
I've seen
Of
clips
all,
here and there.
of all of those, that's the only one that it's like you should see Titanic.
There's like
You
a
what
good
what's
chunk of it
funny?
I've definitely seen. A good, like,
Well,
cohesive chunk.
I saw The Godfather for the first time last year, and I was like, I've seen
Okay.
all of this movie because it's been parodied so
That's funny.
extensively. Like I knew everything that happened because it had all been parodied and like I knew all the lines. And I think if you watch Titanic, you'll know about a third of it because it's been so I mean,
That's
it's
crazy.
James
Yeah.
Cameron, man. He don't miss.
No, I mean, I would love to see almost all of these movies. I'm sure a lot of them are great.
A Night at the
They did
Museum
really well at the
was
box office.
all right. That was fun. You did a good job, Darren. Good boy.
Thanks, Travis. Vancouver's I really hope we beat these guys.
If we don't, fuck. When we
It's
come
just
back,
like,
what if we have to play them in the first round and we have to do
oh
another preview
god.
episode?
Also the
When we
turf.
come back, oh yeah. When we come back, we're gonna make some bets.
And we're back. Now it's time for a segment called Bet It and Forget It.
Bet it and forget it.
Forget it. Every week, Travis and I end the show with a bet for this week's games. We make an outlandish prediction for that week, something that almost definitely will not happen, but could. Each week, we both put up $5. If no one hits, the money rolls over to the next week. Eventually, by the time someone's weird prediction comes true, they might win a good chunk of change. Neither of our bets cashed last week, so our bet pool for this week is now $100. Vince threatened to swoop in and swipe some of Travis's winnings in his absence, but it did not happen.
All right. So our we're at 100, which is I think we should gift ourselves the ability to try to win now that we're at big number.
We hit the hundo.
We hit the hundo. This is the most it's ever been. And I have a bet for the end of the season that I feel very confident in, Darren. And I've never said that before.
No, you're not usually that confident.
And I think karma is going to help me out here. And my bet is this. Against Vancouver, Stipe Biuk gets a brace. 2 goals for Stipe Biuk against Vancouver, and he helps me bring home the $100 because I never doubted Stipe Biuk. I'm banging my hands like Adolf Hitler.
Travis, you're not going to believe it, but my bet was going to be Stipe Biuk scores 1 goal.
Not crazy enough.
I guess not. I think that's also good karma for you because you had the right amount of respect in your bet.
Here the other way to go is you already did Mario Gonzalez, but you could do Mario Gonzalez brace, and we can just have a brace off of 2 people that need goals.
You know what I want to do? A particularly long range LAFC goal. We would have to decide like how long range is long range enough.
I know what my backup bet was also in this wheelhouse, and you can take it, which is, we were talking about the Beckham doc and how they said he was the first person to ever score over the goalie's head. Why don't you just bet that someone chips the goalie from distance? It could even be either team, you know,
Okay. Yeah. Someone will chip the goalie.
well,
That
like
doesn't
from
include
distance.
Yeah, from distance, and that doesn't mean just a great shot from distance.
Yeah, it has to be
The
the
goalie
goalie's
has to
off
look
his
stupid.
line. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
that seems more unlikely than a Steve. Well, no, it doesn't. Never mind. Never doubted him.
Boy.
Well, we shall see. That's our show. Darren, take us away.
Just a reminder, we'll be streaming our post-game call-in show 10
Not
minutes after the
us.
final whistle, but it won't be us. It will be Vince and a mystery guest at youtube.com/@happyfootsadfoot. There's a link in the show notes. Talk to us in the chat. They'll post a link. You can join them on the air. It will be a lot of fun. It'll be a different energy, both because we won't be there. The parents are gone. They'll party. We're the parents.
We'll be at a wedding in New York. It'll be interesting to see how fucked up we are, if we're fucked up enough to like fuck around in the chat while this is happening.
Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah, we'll see what it's like.
I'm so
be nice
sad to be
them.
missing Decision Day. I'm
I
happy
know,
we're going to this wedding, but I went to the Angel City Decision Day. It was so fun.
Oh man, it was fun to watch on TV. Yeah, I there are very few things that I would be excited to go to instead of being part of Decision Day. This is luckily on that list.
Yeah. He's not going to listen, Darren. You could say that you'd rather watch. Our theme music is done by the insane team of James Valentine, Nate Walcott, and Louis Palmer. Along with YouTube, you could follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. And if you made it this far into the episode, chances are you're enjoying the show. And if that's true, and you want to show your support to us and Vince, please consider becoming a friend of the Foot at $5 a month at patreon.com/happyfootsadfoot, or pick up some Half-O Sappho inspired merch by going to happyfootsadfootpod.com. Any support really goes a long way to paying our bills and helping us making this show and keeping it going and the community growing. And again, thank you endlessly to everyone over the course of this season who both subscribed to the Patreon or didn't, but just participated in this show and allowed us to hang out with you. I know the season's not over yet, but it's going to be like nerve-wracking, and who knows if the last time we do this, we won't know the last time we do this if we end up losing or whatever. So it's like, I just want to say thank you now to everyone.
Yeah, let's say this shit
such
now,
a joy.
so we don't have to like say it all just in case every playoff game.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's bad karma to be like, oh, we're going to say things in case we lose. Like,
yeah. Well, we'll do like a season recap and shit, but it's like, I don't know.
We're not going anywhere. We'll do stuff in the off season too.
This feels like the bookend to me, but I just want to say thank you to everyone, whether or not you subscribe to the Patreon. But if you did, we like you more than the people who didn't, because you helped us pay off the server fees and shit we have to pay for. But everyone, we're very thankful that you're here.
Thank you all so much. Yes, I couldn't have said it better.
Thanks again, and we'll see you. We won't. Vince will see you on the live stream, baby. Vince loves you.
At PC Place, baby.
Vince loves you. Bye. Vince loves you. Bye.
Vince loves you. Bye.
Vince loves you. Bye.
Bye.